Everyone, welcome to our Too Posh podcast. I'm here with my beautiful co-hosts, Marcella.
Hello.
And Whitley.
Hi.
And we welcome a very special guest today, Matthew J.C.
Well, hello.
Who is an award-winning director, a musician, business owner, etc., etc., etc. We're going to find out about everything about your life in our next show. Hi, Spider.
Hello.
How are you?
2 thumbs up.
Good. So, I know you do so many like missions and charities and everything for our veterans. So your show is going to be very interesting. I can't wait to hear all about you. So
Awesome.
Everyone tune in about all that. And before we get into further detail about Matthew, just wanted to catch everybody up on what's going on. I know Marcella has a very interesting story to tell.
I do.
You do. About someone crashed into Marcella's car, guys. Backing up.
Oh, yeah.
And then she had a rental car. And
yeah.
Go ahead. It's your turn to tell what happened to you.
Oh, well, I don't know if anyone can relate, but I live at the shops at Legacy West. I probably shouldn't say that. I live at the shops, and there was and it's brand new, so they say like guests have to park on the 7th floor or you get towed. Well, I don't think anybody really gets towed in the parking garage. And I live there and I pay rent there, and I parked on my floor, and I woke up
with the rental car.
With my rental car. And I woke up in the morning and I got ready, and it was very relaxing. And then I walked outside and my car was gone. And so I was like, no.
Oh my gosh.
But at the same time, I was super PMS. So I was super emotional already. It was like the last thing I needed financially. And so I called my apartment and I was crying, and they were so mean to me on the phone, and I had to go all the way because it got towed in McKinney. They wouldn't give me the car because it was Patrick's car and I didn't have any information on it. And then I had to go to the bank and get a notary. And then I was crying some more, and I just cried and cried. And the towing lady was like, did you call the towing service and tell them you would have a rental car? And I said, no, I didn't know how to do that. And she was like, well, it's in the fine print of your lease, but nobody reads the stack of papers. It's like this big of a lease. I didn't know it said that. And I cried, and nobody cared. And so I got towed.
So Patrick and I went to pick up all the stuff from our Statler store from the storage unit. We are on our way there, and she calls sobbing, crying. I'm like, no, now what?
Oh no, you weren't that nice. You're like, what am I supposed to do?
I didn't say that.
So mean. And she was like, I don't have time for this. I don't know how to help you. Did you break the rules?
I did
and
not
I was like,
say that.
I
didn't say I had no time. Patrick said he didn't have time.
You were like, did you break the rules though? And why are you so upset? I'm like, because my car is towed. But everybody, and you know this for sure. Yeah. Hold on. If something happens to her, she can go, Spider, Matthew, she is allowed to go from 0 to 1,000. Like, not 60. Like hysterics. And if anybody else does it, she's like, oh my God, why are you crying? Why are there tears? Why are you calling me with this drama? And I'm like, hold on. We are there for all of your drama, but God forbid one of us
I don't have any drama. I don't know what to do.
Oh my God.
Isn't that mom privilege?
That too.
No.
I think that Matthew is right.
Hold on. The printer broke the other day, and it was me and Patrick, and Patrick's like, you know your mother is going to be like, why is the printer broke? What? I was like, oh my God. It's fine for her.
Anyways.
Nobody else. Nobody else be upset.
Hey, I want to talk about our Sunday fun day. We had fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was like old time Sunday fun days.
Mm-hmm. Matthew, you have to come to one of those one day.
Invite me.
I'm going to.
When you're here.
Yeah.
He's not here a lot.
He's not
I've
here
been
a
home
lot.
for a month in hiding.
In hiding.
Unless someone invites me somewhere, I don't go anywhere.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Resting.
No.
Just hiding on purpose?
I want to know who wants to hang out with me.
Oh.
So
we keep it simple.
Nice. Got it.
That's a fun
you
game.
lessen your circle. You improve your circle.
Yes.
And then all the things that you do are with the people you care about.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
very smart. I like that a lot.
Should do that.
So I've been alone for the last 2 months. Just kidding.
The circles get smaller.
They do.
As you get older.
They really, really
Mine's
do.
already
really small, so I'm not looking
Mine
forward to
gets
that.
smaller. It's okay.
Well, I think you go through phases in life, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're smaller than if you are in a relationship or something, they get bigger again. If you get married, have children, they get bigger and bigger. And then, I don't know. It's just phases of life, I think.
Yeah. I'll always have Molly. My best friend. I know that sounds bad now. she hates her name now because it's like
Sunday
Yeah.
fun day.
Molly.
Oh
Good
my
times.
God. Yeah, really crazy.
Dallas.
Dallas days. Yeah, and I know what you guys are talking about. Anyways, so I want to just talk about like what we do on Wednesdays about some of the news that stick out to me that I see throughout the week, stories that I think are crazy or just things that happen. So the one thing that happened this week that I really noticed a lot was there was 2 funerals of famous people this week in our country. And one was for John McCain and one was for Aretha Franklin. I don't know if anyone saw that or followed it. I personally thought that it was absolutely, I'm sorry. The funeral for John McCain was 4 days. And for Aretha Franklin
4
was a
days.
whole entire week.
Funeral?
Funeral.
I don't know any of this.
I'm sorry,
either.
but that's a little excessive in my book. I don't care how famous people are. I mean, that's like, and it was all televised. So I'm like, who the heck? That was
What took a week?
all different events, all different functions. Aretha was in an open casket.
For a week?
Yeah, she had
Basically,
3 different wardrobes.
4.
Was it 4?
Spider was 4 different outfits. I feel so. I'm sorry, people, if they don't like what I'm going to say, but I find that creepy.
Hey,
Like,
have
they
you seen?
changed- Is that weird?
Totally agree.
Have you seen
Yeah.
the people like this is way off, but you can like
Oh,
stand
gosh.
people up. Like
Ah!
now you can do like they can like be
No.
playing the guitar like on a motorcycle.
Yes,
like
I've
just
seen it too.
so that they almost look like they're,
They're real
stuffed.
and
yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
horrible,
Horrible.
horrible.
I don't like hearing that. My eyes are.
Mm-mm.
That's terrifying.
Mm-mm.
Ew.
It's horrible.
I mean, they basically put on a concert.
They did.
And I honestly thought that Netflix was going to actually sign a deal and make it a series.
No,
Right?
the
It was so
funerals-
long.
It
At
was
funerals.
9 hours.
Right.
One day was 9 hours.
That's 9 full
for
episodes.
Aretha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
You're right.
We have a full season of a funeral.
You're right. Yeah. No
But-
joke.
Were
It's
people
depressing.
singing and stuff?
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. It was a huge event, and
Where was I?
I don't know.
You were somewhere else important.
Somewhere else not.
You did not miss
so
anything.
Ariana Grande
Mhm.
sang, and she got blasted because she wore a super mini skirt,
Oh God.
and people were
She always
freaking
does.
out that she walked into a house of God with this short mini skirt on. But my favorite part was, as a
Say
meme,
it.
you need to look at it because she was singing right in front of Bill Clinton.
Oh, I know where this is going.
It's just too easy.
I know. Low hanging fruit.
I mean, he was like,
His fruit was hanging.
oh yeah, and he's like, his eyes go down. There's this meme. It's really funny.
Makes sense.
I was like, oh
So
my
he was
God.
saying I'm with her.
I think that's why they did that story that way. Because it's
do?
like, and look at this Democrat.
Oh my God. So then she had hundreds of pink Cadillacs that were riding in the street, like following her gold casket.
Was it real
her-
gold?
Yeah, they said it was 24 karat real gold.
Wow.
That's what I'm gonna have.
That's not a waste of money.
Not at all.
For communities that need it.
Yeah.
or
Right.
water in Michigan.
Yeah,
and
right?
no.
No, not at all. For a
What?
whole week this was going
You'll
on.
never see it again.
Yeah.
Just
That's
gonna
like
go in the
sad
ground.
though. Like for the family, like they have to do that for a week. I feel like that's worse. Like I guess it's honoring like
I
a
bet
legend.
you they got
but-
paid.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Did they do like on Daily
Capitalism.
Mail like a wardrobe? Like, are they gonna
Yeah.
do a
It was like, I mean,
fashion police?
Who
for the
wore
funeral?
what?
yeah, she wore like red the first day with red shoes.
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah. And then
Ah,
powder blue and then white and then gold. She wore an evening gown for her final outfit. So it was gold on gold.
wow.
It's very dramatic.
So dramatic. So weird. I don't know. Jennifer Hudson sang, Faith Hill sang. Like it was a major event. I'm telling
Wow.
I don't know where
I'm
I
glad
was
I missed
this entire time. Like, really did not see that at all.
Well, so it's just my opinion that I don't know. There's no one in this world. I mean, there are billions of people in this world, and there's 2 people. That's such a big deal. I'm sorry.
I did see a funny meme of Lindsay Lohan, and did you see that? And they're like, "Can somebody please tell Lindsay that you can't get better after death? Like, there's no feeling better." She said, "Rest in peace, John McCain. Feel better."
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I didn't see
She
that.
can't
Are
feel
you
better.
serious?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
And the rehab didn't work.
Oh my God. Exactly.
Still dancing though, so.
That dance video. I don't know if anybody has seen it, but the new. I have to show you.
Yeah.
But if anybody is listening and you haven't seen like the viral Lindsay Lohan dance, you need to look it up. I'm going to show Matthew really fast. I showed my mom in the car. It's really, really bad. And all the memes that are coming up from it are just so funny.
Oh my God. That can't be real.
Well, and that one says like when your dick appointment was terrible, but you stole $20 off the counter or something like that. That's the dance you do.
Oh my God. Poor thing.
Right?
Oh my
I
God.
don't know who dances like that, but it's pretty rough.
Have you seen it, Spider?
Oh man,
It's
you have
very
to.
interesting. So everyone, look up Lindsay Lohan's dance and
Get it. Get it.
I've seen that in buildings full of white people.
It's pretty rough.
The head flips.
Well, and then I saw these girls that I follow. They're like, we're doing the Lindsay Lohan. So it's like,
oh, so now this is like a dance.
Yeah, it's
oh God.
terrible.
Oh, I'm gonna
Anyway.
do that.
I don't know why I talked about that. What happened?
You got bored with the
Oh,
funeral.
John McCain. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So then there's this story. I thought this was interesting. There's a Tour de France winner. He's from Germany. And he says that his girlfriend lets him cheat because he's a young man who needs sex. Because he was arrested for assaulting a prostitute. So I was very confused why. And she has no issues with it at all. She wants him to cheat.
What is the headline?
Exactly what I just read.
What?
Yes. Ex-Tour de France winner, 44, says his girlfriend lets him cheat because he's a young man who needs sex after he was arrested assaulting
he's
a prostitute.
44?
He's 44.
That's not very young. I mean, age-
Careful.
Yeah.
A young man. No, but I mean, like, he's not like
Careful.
20. Like this young little boy who needs to cheat.
I don't know. 44 is young.
21 years
The new
older than
20s.
me. Yeah, right. But he's on bail because he was assaulting a prostitute in Frankfurt. And then he broke into a neighbor's house because the
loose
neighbor threatened him.
Loose. So loose.
It was so loose, but this is what they look like. I thought it was just an interesting,
Very normal.
very normal people. So I just wanted to put it on record that it's not okay for a guy to cheat. So, and no girl should put up with it.
Or with prostitutes. Or beat them. while they're at it.
Or girls that cheat.
Yeah,
girls that
Just going to go ahead and throw that out there from
He's like,
personal
"Wait."
experience. Just letting you know that. Does go
true.
both ways on
Yes,
that one.
it does.
That is true.
It's
And
horrible
we-
to cheat on anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we do like to say, because we don't have a lot of guys on here. We've had actually a lot of guys recently, but we do say that it's not just
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
It's girls too. And girls can be super shady. Almost
I think the worst.
shady.
The worst.
Guys are just simply dumb.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Girls, when they do it, in
an
my
art
opinion,
It's an art form.
they think that through like they're solving CSI crimes.
Cheating.
Oh,
Yeah.
manipulation.
Yeah.
Now I
Bless
want to
their
know your
hearts.
story.
I know.
You could choose. I have 3 of them.
Oh,
Tell
Oh
us
my goodness.
one.
Yeah, tell us the best one.
The best one. All right, this is the best one. This is the first girl that when I moved to Dallas I went out with. I don't know how to say this, but we were doing great for 2 years, and then all of a sudden you start to have these
2 years. Always.
feelings. It's always around 2 years.
Uh-huh.
It's always that same mark. That year and a half is usually when it starts
Yep.
feeling it, but it's
Yep.
2 years when you finally be like, I want my DVDs back. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna break up with her. But it
really?
started
2
to
years?
2
2
years
years.
is a
Yeah.
thing. If you make it past 2 years, you're usually
good.
Oh, good.
So
I've never made it past 2.
it's okay, either have I. But long story short of it was that I was working for a magazine company as the vice president of marketing. The president of the company was my best friend. He would come out to all of my shows. I was performing about 25 times a month. And he would come out to most of my shows, but he lived in Fort Worth, so he would always leave. And I kept telling him every single night, I'm like, something's going on, something's going on, something's going on. And this was back when MySpace was cool,
Oh, yeah.
or the only thing around. Facebook wasn't even around. And I started getting this message from a girl, and it was very flirty. And at the same time, I kept everything, because it happened when you're a musician. Things happen,
Right.
just as it happens for girls. We get pictures too, by the way, that I don't want to see, for the record.
You get vagina pictures.
Oh, no. I get other things too.
What?
Butthole pictures.
Yeah, I
Like
can-
what?
Boob pictures.
And videos. These girls are
Masturbation
crazy.
pictures.
All day. Everything you said is on the list.
Is there more?
Oh, there's so much.
What? Like what?
Sex toys.
Hamburger pictures.
Hamburgers.
We had to see the hamburger, by the way.
Yes, he showed it us.
Spider.
There was a lot of dick pics going around
Yeah.
that party Sunday. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
It was
So
strange.
we got to see
It was strange.
a woman
I know. Arby's.
make a hamburger.
Got it.
No.
No, this is
like,
This was
uh,
actually very impressive.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, but it looks like a burger.
Yeah,
Like
it's very creative.
it's very creative.
I don't know what's
And
happening right now until I see this picture of this burger.
Yeah.
Spider.
I'm bringing it out.
And
Because
we
Whitley and Matthew have to see it.
and we had hamburgers. For
Oh gosh.
Okay, that's unbelievable. I wish I got that because I find it's like
Can you show
slow
it to the
clap.
camera, Spider, so people can
impressive.
see it?
That is a slow clap.
Even sesame seeds.
The detail is perfection right there. It's like Burger King should hire her.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
guys.
it's a great side story. But I started getting this message from this girl, and it started to get odd. And she was like, hey, are you going to be home tomorrow around 12 o'clock? I want to give you my login information. I'm like, wait, where's this going? What do you mean? She's like, I want you to jump onto my account, and whoever answers to you, I want you to answer to it. And I was like, okay, sure, this is
odd
odd.
request.
Totally odd.
Yeah.
But I was intrigued, and I'm still going through this, what's going on in my relationship. Turns out that girl was next door neighbors to my best friend who saw my girlfriend going over to his house. So the whole time she was cheating on me with the guy that owned my company, and because I had to give my social security because I'm partners with the company or part of it, and you have your payroll, they have the information. They opened up a sales credit card and took 2 credit cards out, $50,000 each, and spent jewelry on everything.
Your money.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it went through 3 years of credit dispute, and it took 3 years to change my credit, and I couldn't get anything for 3 years because it looked like I had like a credit score of like 300 because I never even got these bills. But the funny part is that she actually ended up getting pregnant. So everyone was like, "Oh crap! You're counting your calendar. Please, Lord, tell me this wasn't. Wait a minute. No, that couldn't be. I'm carrying the one. Okay, it couldn't be me. Turns out she was cheating on him with one of our photographers.
Stop it.
Oh my
And that's
gosh.
hilarious because I only let her at the time she was still living at my house, and she had at the time that we were breaking up. You know what I'm saying?
She's
like
still living with
she
you.
was still at my house. And the other thing was that I knew that she was going through cancer treatment.
What?
So she was
Wow.
going to these cancer treatments to get, whatever that she needed to get her radiation and all of the stuff. And I was very sympathetic to that and all of that. Turns out she never had cancer.
I was just gonna say,
And
did
that when she was going to the radiation,
I said I
is
don't
when,
believe it.
Yep, is when she was with the third guy who ended up being the dad. So
Oh my god.
a year and a half later, she got busted trafficking drugs back and forth from
Oh, wow.
Austin to Dallas, putting the kid on top of the drugs. What? And at one of our events, the guy comes to me and he goes like this, I just want to apologize. I always thought that you were the bad guy. Is there any way that you could come to court so I can get my daughter? And I'm like, I want literally nothing
Nothing.
from any of you or your drama. I'm sorry, but I've already dealt with enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that did happen. This is a real story. And trust me, that wasn't the worst.
I want to keep
Keep going. I know
Yeah.
you gotta keep
3.
going.
Now that might be a Netflix
It's like-
series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that.
What?
One of my new movies that's coming out that's based on my podcast is called The Dharma Confessionals. And
What's that
do you
mean?
know
Like
what,
Lost?
it's funny that you say that. That's good. So do you know what Dharma really means?
No.
No.
It means life's purpose.
Oh, okay.
So imagine if you have someone who's experienced so much that they actually tell you that they found life's purpose. But the way that they're going to teach it to you is they're going to go through all of the things that they've experienced, and you have to find out for yourself what your life purpose is. So it's a movie very similar to like Singles back in the 80s and 90s,
wow.
where there's a bunch of like 8 people together. All of their stories kind of all end up combining, but it's all based on one person. So we just finished the
that's
script.
a good name then.
But then
Stop it. This
we're
is
gonna-
so cool.
You like this? 'Cause
yes.
the podcast comes out, and the podcast.
I was just gonna ask you what podcast, when, and how. What?
Well, we
I don't know
started-
anything about that.
It's because we haven't told anybody yet. So this is literally the first time officially that I'm launching it, because the way that it works. I mean, I'm tying into our later conversation,
Yes.
so I'm not trying to.
No, this is perfect. I love it.
But the whole point is when I was on the boat in Alaska, which I'll tell you about later, I guess, I was writing the whole thing. So I started a book about 8 years ago And now I feel like I want to finish the book. And now the book is going to come out as the Dharma Confessional, which then leads to the podcast, that then leads to the motivational speaking. And then at that time, we launched the movie. So it's a whole series of events because I don't want it to end. Because people need to know, how do you find your life's purpose? It's a great question.
Yes.
And the simple answer is you find your balance between your internal and external desires. That's the secret of happiness. I know.
How do we do that?
Well, exactly.
I need to know how to do that.
That's why you tune into every podcast, and every podcast gives you the secrets of your success. So I've been writing this for a long time. Like
How long?
Since 2009 is when I started it.
Stop.
Right. So everything's written. I have about, like, I would say at least 28 chapters. And then I was like, well, do I want to put it out in a book, or I can put them out as segments in the podcast? But then now I feel like I'm going to put it out as like like one of those books that's just like each chapter is about 2 to 3.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that because
and you could read it.
Cool.
I'll let, if you guys wanted to read a chapter or two, I'll send you a chapter or two.
Yeah.
I would love that. Well, and I like
cool.
reading like that because I feel like I can read it. Like
It's not
easier.
so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. I want you to be able to flip through anything, whatever chapter you fall on, you could start right there.
And
That's cool.
Right.
That is cool.
So it's pretty cool.
I love that.
When is the first podcast?
I can't tell anybody that yet, but I will say, and I don't mean it in a bad way, it's because I
No.
also don't know.
Right.
You want to make people
the
excited.
first answer was the cooler one, but really and the reason for it is that I want the movie to come out first. And that comes out in November, because I'm going to, like, when you come to our movie premiere on November 14th, you're going to actually see 3 of the movies and projects that we have coming up. You're going to see for the first time in the movie theater. And so that's why I'm not letting everybody kind of know until that.
I'm so excited.
I know.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
That's November 14th.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to come.
Yeah, you guys really do have to come. And
I
actually,
want to.
I have an idea for your podcast too.
Ooh.
Oh.
Because maybe I need people there interviewing people coming in and out of the theater.
We
Yes.
just
See how
talked
we-
about we're gonna
Yeah.
do
Synergy.
like live
Mhm.
on what
Like
on
on-site,
location
yeah,
On
on-site,
location. Podcast.
podcasts. So that's gonna be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the next step for us
Yeah.
anyways to do on location that we've been talking about.
Yeah, so
we got
that'd
a
be
lot of field trips for
Yeah.
our stuff.
Yeah.
So
But that would be really, really, really awesome. And I think that's so important. Like, everybody always talks about, so many people start podcasts and they end them rather quickly because they have trouble with content. But you have content forever.
Oh,
I mean, that's really,
yeah,
really,
yours is
really
gonna
awesome.
be great.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's
It's
cool. Awesome.
I'm pretty excited about it because some of the scenes in the movie are hilarious. Yeah,
And this is for the movie, the November 14th.
the Dharma Confessional.
Okay.
Oh no.
No.
November 14th is Operation Torrent.
That's okay.
But you will see the launch of the Dharma Confessionals.
Okay.
At
Because-
that time.
So everything is like, I've always wanted to be a motivational speaker, but at the same time, I've never really gotten on the stage and motivated besides what I do at my own shows.
Right.
So I did my first motivational speech about a month and a half ago.
You did? Where?
Charged
Cool.
$50 just to make sure if people aren't paying you money, then you don't really have a
No.
product.
Right.
And I don't do anything for free. I don't go to Subway when my friends work at Subway and ask for a free sandwich. Bad
Right.
example, good example. You pay
Mhm.
for the sandwich. So
Right.
pay for our service. Like, respect small businesses.
Right.
But I forgot what I was saying. What were we talking about?
Your motivational
Oh yeah.
speech.
one.
See, I can
Yeah.
motivate you into telling me what I was talking about. So I gave my first one, and it was probably the best experience of my life because I figured out what not to do as much as I figured out what did work.
Where did you do it?
My one thing is that I need to do a 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute kind of. I had to like scale it down, and I knew what I wanted to talk about, and I knew how I wanted to inspire people, and I knew the beginning and the hook of the whole little speech. And it was point on. And I did it in front of like one of Tony Robbins' guys
You
that
did?
works with. And they looked at, and I had 2 other people look at me. They're like, I would have spent $1,000 to hear what you said.
Wow.
Nice.
So
Cool.
like that's the kind of level I'm trying to get to. So I'm doing it so no one really knows about it. I'm trying to make all the mistakes that I can make.
Smart.
Mhm.
Where are my hands? Do I want any props? How do I get people to interact with me? What are the
Yeah.
right, hey, let me get you to stand up, shake your body, make everybody like, you'd be amazed at how much these little things can change
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole essence.
Do you
So-
know Johnny Wimbry?
Oh, very well. He's
You
in World
do?
Ventures. Yeah, I know Johnny very well. And
He does
Marcella.
his
Yep.
motivational speaking company. The
Yep.
Journey to Wealth is his
Yep.
new company that Jolie, my little one, is best friends with his daughters.
I love it.
Yeah.
We go to school together.
I know
Yeah.
him very well.
Oh,
that's
cool.
awesome. 'Cause
The
he's
world
so
is
great.
so small.
Small.
Yeah.
I know. We
Yeah.
find out about this every day now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah.
Craziness.
All our stories are.
Okay, I want
Dharma.
yeah, right. I want to know your second one.
Yeah. You can't
I
leave
want
us
to know.
hanging on
I want to
these.
know all 3 now.
In my head, I'm debating because like one is recent, and it's like I won't say anything about that. I'll be good. But
Well, then tell us 2.
It's because I don't want to call anybody out, but then it's at the same time, it is what it is, right?
Right. No names.
Well, you just you find out I call people the whisperers, okay? And when you call people out, they don't know that I hear things. And we even joked about Sunday Fun Days. You were actually at one of the parties when all of the second one actually happened. It was the first time that I hung out with you in your inner circle back in 2010-11.
Okay.
And it was just a funny thing because I had a feeling that my ex was cheating on me with someone. And then when I found out who it was just like, and that's a shell shock. And that hurt. And then it was like, yeah. And you're looking at me, and I know you probably know who I'm talking about. Yeah, and it was just a very awkward situation. It happened. I found out about it 2 weeks before we were supposed to go to Turkey to perform for our troops that were in 2011. We were at kind of a skirmish with Libya. So in Turkey, it was our Air Force base that was dropping the bombs there. So they sent me from the Pentagon over there to perform for them on the 4th of July. But 20 days before this, I found out that she was cheating on me. When I found out who she was cheating on me with, it was like, wow, that person is coming on tour with us too. So this is kind of hard. I want nothing to do with this. Can I get her off the tour? Pentagon says it's $20,000 to change all of your flights. Not a problem, Matt. You can change it if you want to pay the $20,000. So I said, okay, she can come on tour. And at that time, I already had a 10-day vacation. Like when I sent home the 17 people from our tour, her and I were going to go to Italy for 10 days on this whole excursion that I've already paid for. So it's like, well, I guess we're going to have fun, and I'm just going to not think about this until I get home.
Oh, no.
So literally that whole thing, and we ended up having a good time, and it was cool. You know, I'm kosher with all of these people now. But it was one of those, it's like, wow, did you not think about how the ripple effect of your classless decisions really made while your son is in my house and I'm taking care of your kid? So this kid was waking up to me every single day. I was dropping him off to and from school. I learned how to be a dad. I learned how to change diapers. I did it for about a year and a half, and I had no problem doing it. And a year and a half is enough to change diapers, especially when you're not the dad. Let's just say, you know, I have no problem being insta dad. I don't care if girls that have kids. I will date anybody that actually wants to love. But at the same time, I don't have any time for people that I'm like, so why aren't you coming home again?
Yeah.
Because you know your kid's on my bed, right? Because this is awkward for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. How about that for the second story?
That's good.
Did I do good by not dropping names?
Yes.
I want to know.
Are you even curious who it is?
I am.
Yeah.
I know the girl. I just don't know the guy.
Yeah. And I love everybody because everyone made decisions and we were all young and there's no blame and I love everybody and there's nothing negative. But it was just for me at that time. I was like, really? 20 days
That's
before the
negative.
biggest thing in my life and this is what you drop. And now on my greatest thing that I've ever accomplished, I have to live with this and not let anybody on the tour know. Like I couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. We always say like stuff that we talk about in here. It's never even like it's just truth that has happened.
Right.
So even if like you're cool with people, it's just part of your story. So it's
right.
And I know that you've done
happens.
this, and you have a lot of courage for what you went through and what you've talked about. And I feel like I've never ever had that boldness to call some people out, and I really want to. But I feel that my way of doing it, I'm putting all of these stories in the Dharma Confessional. So when you watch everything, but I'm going to put a funny twist on all of them.
Right,
I want you to feel bad for me as a character, but I'm not the only character. I might use someone else's, sub stories too that might be better or play out on video. But I figured I would tell my truth on camera because I will immortalize you. And have you ever been to Italy? Anybody?
Yes, my favorite place in the world.
Thank you. Me too.
Favorite place. There's nothing like it.
Have you been to the Sistine Chapel? In the Vatican?
Not, no.
Okay, so inside the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo painted, up on the ceiling and across one of the main walls. And the story is when you go there, and they tell it to you all the time, on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a picture of a guy that's being sworn by some snakes, and it looks like the snake is going to kill him. And the story is that Michelangelo couldn't stand one of the painters, the contractors that was working with him. He was cheating on another girl or this or that, and it was causing friction in the group. He knew that he had to keep focused with their deadlines that they had, so he said, I will immortalize you in my work. And he took a picture of the guy, painted it on the wall, and dropped a snake around him for the world to always see it.
Isn't that the best about
So
art?
I shall do that
Yeah.
with my art, and
Yeah.
I will
That's
put
cool.
my stories into the art.
I
and
love
hence-
that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's very healing.
It's also
Yeah.
classy.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
be unclassy.
The
I want to be. I've like Facebook is so stupid. You could just destroy people on it, and people
Can.
do that,
People do that.
and it's horrible. Though of course I'm a sucker to like I shall troll this. And
Yeah.
let me
Get
just
the
like
pop.
it at least once, so it always tells me if some other idiot posts too.
That's actually really smart.
Oh, I do, and I'm like, what else do I want to read today?
Yeah.
Definitely the popcorn comes out. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
read it. I don't do that way either. It's
Mm-mm.
better to just be silent.
You have always done it with your choreography with
Mhm.
dances,
Yeah, I
and
like
then the podcast was really the first time
Yeah.
that you actually spoke about it. And
Well, and mine was not for anything but to help other people that
Right.
had been
Brilliant.
and stuff like that too. Because we did get a lot of messages from females who were like talking. So that was
Mhm.
really the point. It really wasn't to back because I am so over it.
right. But
So it
it's
wasn't
also
bad.
healing to just get it out there, that because there was a lot of people that didn't know.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
and then for that, it's good, you know.
I'll
just
be
sometimes.
honest with you. Like when you did that,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying that it encouraged me to this, but I knew when I went on. It's okay to talk about it now. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know if I'm.
Everything's okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So when I went on, Operation Torrent, my movie, I had to go to Alaska to film for 30 days, and I
Mhm.
lived on a boat that was in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That every now and then, every night, we would come to port, and that's how we did it. Watching one veteran compete in this crazy waterway race. So while we're dealing with 20-foot waves every 6 seconds for 4 hours, we also had days where it's just beautiful and the sunset's gorgeous, and you're looking at, and I can show you pictures. This world where I was just pure heaven. But while I was there, sometimes life is yin and yang.
Mhm.
And I knew that I had to face a demon, and my demon is my last ex. And I wanted to figure out, how do I get over this? And it wasn't about anger. Like, you go through anger, depression,
Mhm.
and all your
Yeah.
steps, right? For me, what it was is I actually made a video testimonial to her that I always wanted to send, or I thought I would send to her. And it took me about 12 days to get the courage to make this video just by myself. And I did it. Found the right location, the right time, and I made it. It was about 6 or 7 minutes long. And then that next morning I woke up, I never felt more free,
Mhm.
and I didn't even send
It didn't
the
send
message
it. Mhm.
because I didn't feel like I had to anymore. It was me that I had to forgive.
Yeah.
And it was such a crazy thing because it's like you really want to kind of shake the other person and be like, "Yeah."
Uh-huh.
And most people usually are like, well, you're a narcissist because this is what I'm like, no. See, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. And then after arrogance, there's a fine line between you're an asshole.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
all right. And there are all of those lines, but I needed to forgive myself, but at the same time, tell my truth. And since no one ever listened to me, you can't tell me to shut up when I'm making my own video.
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, I'm going to line list everything here, but it wasn't about being right. The whole video was about where I failed her. Because if I don't actually admit what I failed, I will always be bitter.
It's true.
And I don't want to be bitter. That's not who I am. I always want to be authentic.
That's very smart. It's a lot like writing.
Mhm.
I am one that always
Mhm.
talks about writing is so important to let go. And we had a therapist on here one time, and she said, like, I believe in writing and not like attacking, but in relationships, when sometimes you don't feel like you want to talk about it, like it might cause a fight, I'd like to write, and because the other person can then read it and think about it, whatever. She said to write it and throw it away. Same thing.
Wow.
What you were doing, what you did it in video form.
I love that you're saying that. That even makes me feel like I accomplished something.
You
You
did.
did.
And I literally stole this from my mother. My whole family is very, very, very Italian. And I know what it's like when you
Italian.
come from
Yes.
across the sea, like the thought process is completely different, especially when you come here and you combine the two cultures. And our old history was, right? Our old history was, or what my mom used to tell me is that if you don't like someone, write down what their name is and how they did you wrong, and you put it in like an old medicine bottle, put water in it, freeze it, and put it in your freezer, and you freeze them in time. And I was like, that's really crazy. And then my mom's like, well, let me show you
Never heard that
downstairs
before.
inside. And she literally had about 28 little bottles of all of the people that she froze over time.
Oh my gosh.
And I was
wow.
like, well, let me kind of upgrade that. And that was really where the idea of the video came
Yeah.
through. And now
Yeah.
you're telling me that idea.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, this actually makes sense that it is some kind of healing. Not
It's
like I'm
very
a
healing.
therapist in any
Freeing.
regard. It
Mhm.
truly was freeing.
Mhm.
Though deep down now, it's like a month and a half later, and I'm like, I kind of want her to watch it.
Like maybe I should
because I still don't think that my points are heard.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what I think anymore. You know what I mean?
But you still can do that. Like, I feel like if it's not like an attack on the person, where it's like everything, whatever was wrong, you you blah, blah, blah. It's more like what you did.
Right.
I think it's totally fine to let the person see
I
it.
do want to, when you start adding in realness that's going on and you start to see where all the whispers are coming, because my circumstance in this last year was probably the last year of my life was probably the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. 42 years, this was the craziest thing that has ever happened to me in my life.
You are not 42.
I am 42.
That's why I told you be careful by
44.
saying 44 is old.
I thought you were like 33 or something.
I know, I did too.
I love you guys.
Not in your 40s.
I was born in 1975.
What?
Carry the one, 42.
That blows my mind right now. You look the same. Like you haven't changed.
Well, I will tell you this, though. My last relationship, I was 30 pounds overweight, unhappy, completely and utterly depressed, and it was all my fault. And I'll take all the blame for my own body, and literally I lost 30 pounds and never felt better. And those pounds were not weight. They were just thoughts.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was? I mean, I can't see you depressed. That's the only reason.
Extremely depressed.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really told a lot of people, and I don't want some things out there publicly because at the same time, the way that it affected me was really bad. But I mean, bullet point, let me think. Okay, 2 friends, veterans, suicide.
Oh, yeah.
Then $25,000 of all of my equipment stolen. Then some issues with the government. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And then some rumors about that had other people questioning my authenticity with my charity, which then led to, and I have no problem, I'll release all my financials always, and put all the financials out because I was told that I was putting people on pedestals. And it sounds weird to talk out loud, but maybe this is healing. But at the same time, it's like I never force anybody to do anything that they don't want. But when they saw the paperwork of what everyone got paid, everyone's like, yeah, I have no idea why any of that happened. But for 6 months, nobody would talk to me. Then all of a sudden, the rumors run around. And the rumors were very ugly. And I won't say it on camera because there's nothing. I love everybody, period. But this really did happen to me that all of a sudden, it was like all of a sudden on Facebook, it was like this person stopped talking to me, this person. And it's like I found out that not one of those people ever came to my face to say, hey, we have a problem. We should talk. They all just heard, as I call it, the whispers, agreed with the whispers. And because Matt is so socially out there, because Facebook does a great job of lying to the public, and I'm a great liar when it comes to social media, telling you what I want you to do because that's your job.
Right.
That's the personality. You know what I mean? No one really tells you their personal problems.
We talk about this all the time.
It's just so frustrating that, and again, knowing with veteran suicide, I was literally, I can't even compare. I hate even talking about depression when I know about real depression. But for me, it was all of these financial things that everything that hit me. I mean, I literally had 3 different offices set up in my own house to take care of situations that happened. It then took me 2 months to solve these dilemmas. And I'm going to be in Alaska for 30 days. Well, how am I going to leave when all of this stuff is still here? And then when I come, this is just too much for me. And literally there's no family here. I have no friends. That's not true. First off, I have beautiful friends. I have a beautiful family, if you want to call it that. Family.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, there's no family. There's no Sunday dinner. And I reach out to people all the time and be like, hey, let's connect because I feel like some kind of synergy. But then, like I said, people will ghost you. And when they ghost you, it's literally, I mean, what we've all seen the memes. If someone's ghosting you and not responding to your calls, like, it's okay. It's not like they don't want to hang out with you. Maybe they do. You're not on their top priority list. So then you can take them off your top priority list. It's not about writing a to-do list. It's writing a to-not-to-do list. And sometimes that's even more important to find success. But at the same time, though, it was a complete, and I love your writing. I have a new, like one of my books is going to explain to you how you write a journal, not a diary, to improve your life. So it's like everything that you said, it's like the relationship thing. Like there is a huge section in my journal called relationships, and it's all of the goals that I want that fulfill me. But then what are the steps that I'm doing or failing in so that I can actually write it down? It's going to help me better. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. But that's super important. And when you get into your next relationship, if you do that from the very beginning.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's where I lost.
Then
I think, and I mean, you guys are awesome women. So I'll tell you, this is probably why I lose out in relationships, because as soon as you know that this could be a relationship, and there's that moment, I have the discussion with the young lady, and I am always like, this is how we're going to handle arguments. And this is probably why I lose them. But I always believe, if you have a problem with me, you get to go first and you tell me your problem. Then I'll go and I'll respond. But this response is not in anger. It's just in response to what you said. Because right there, usually when you respond, right away they shut you completely and utterly off, whether it's a guy, business, this or that. So I say, we're not allowed to do that. We have to leave our world of anger. We have to leave our world of peace. And we have to live in this whole new area that we're just visiting for a while, where no one's right or wrong. And what we're going to do is you tell me your problem.
Emotional woman.
I'm going to. But here's the thing, though. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen more than we talk.
It's true.
So I want to listen because I want to understand, we all know the 5 love languages. Let me figure out where I failed you in your love language. By listening, I will learn that, and that is what I will reply back. Then you can respond back to me, but then after that, then what we do is we come up with what the solutions are. And if we don't move on and you keep going backwards, then we're never going to solve this problem. And this is where everyone thinks I'm an asshole.
Why? Because I was going to say, what is failing in that?
Yeah, I don't think that's
because it never gets there. Because the moment that they tell me what's wrong, and I kind of made a meme of it earlier and I posted it, and it's just, it's so perfect and it's just so true.
Maybe you guys just need to write letters to each other.
Right there. It says, 2 people talking. It says, her, I don't like these things about you. You need to change. And the guy's listening. And then it says, him, okay, but here are some things you could change. Her, if you can't accept me, then we shouldn't be together. You can't do that.
Well,
I knew that was coming.
so here it is.
I love it. Therapy begins.
It's just so I'm taking this as if you're madly in love, okay? A couple that's madly in love. Women are emotionally way different than men. So I'm sorry, that's just how it is.
Agreed.
So when the girl has everything goes great usually for a while. Then when the little problems start, whatever that is, if as a woman you tell that to your guy, really the better thing is to just
help you out here.
I'm just helping you.
I know what you're going to say, not respond.
No, it's not that you don't respond. It's just like kind of you hear her.
You write it down and burn it.
No, you just hear her and take that and try to do better. That's it. Like, don't then get into, but I don't like that about you, because then you'll never.
Oh, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So that way, because women are so emotional, we go through all these hormonal things, PMS, whatever it may be, and we have an off day sometimes, and it may be completely unreasonable. And it's just that we're hurt.
Typically.
Yeah.
Typically it is. But typically it really is.
Right,
and if we then say something and you say, you know what, I'll do better than that.
Right.
A girl, she'll go, oh, what? You'll rise up there. And if you go, well, you're not doing that, then she's like, fine, whatever. I'm just like in a little way explaining. And I mean, the bigger the issues are, the bigger that gets. And then
See, everything you said, I completely 100% agree with. I think if I explained it better, I'm talking about the conversation where you're about to go through a breakup and you're just kind of unveiling everything. Well, that sounds like a conversation where it's like, it's the end of the day, you come home and she wants to tell you about some problems that maybe you're doing wrong kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't take out the trash, you didn't do this, I'm getting tired of handling this, and you get
it's like you used to do this, now you don't do that anymore. You need to do that kind of thing.
I think my dad literally taught me the same lesson. Shut up. Man. You can either be right or you can be happy. So choose happy, and that means shut up.
That's good that you know that, though, because some men like to fight that, and it just never works.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. You can't. Like I always say, and if I'm wrong, women are emotional, men are logical. That doesn't mean their logic is correct or the emotions are right, but that's usually where people are coming from.
And then you get to the whole sex part of a relationship, and if the girl is like emotionally shut down to you, then you don't have that anymore, and then you have those issues.
See, that happened to me. This is embarrassing.
But
to
it's
even
the
talk
truth.
About. Yeah.
I mean, that's how.
Where you didn't want to, or she didn't.
You know what happened is, it's a funny thing. You really have to look at it, and this is embarrassing for myself, but I'll be honest because I don't really care, right? Because if you do care, then it stops you from healing.
Right.
Our sex life just kind of stopped.
So important. It's not good. That's not good.
But when you looked at it, her direct choice was, you must be cheating. And mine was, I'm weighing 30 pounds more than I've ever weighed. And when I went to the doctor after the breakup, I found out that there were some things wrong with me. And it was one of those where it's like, holy shit, I have to change my whole damn life. This had to be one of the reasons why I was like, I just didn't want to, because I wasn't happy with me.
Right.
And I'm not being a girl in this moment. But this sounds also very similar to what a girl would be like. I don't look good, therefore we're not having sex tonight.
No, it happens with men
Yeah.
a lot. Like
Yeah.
guys just don't
It was
admit
weird for
it,
me.
which is good that you do, because it's not just a female
I think
thing.
that's very
Yeah.
important to admit. Like,
Yeah.
you can-
I failed in that department. And it wasn't, but for me, when I say failed, that doesn't mean, fail to me means first attempt in learning. Not that I
Right.
did something wrong. But now that I understood, of course it was too late, that the reason why I was unattractive was against myself. And then in that unfortunate circumstance, her emotionally took it as, you must be cheating. And then everything went in her world for the next 2 months. I'm going to find out who you're cheating on with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And that was the start of the downfall. Then it was the, let me sneak into your phone. Let me do this. Let me accuse you of this. And it just, and it goes to, and you can't come back from that.
Yeah.
And if you want to come back from that, you actually have to go back to date one. You know what I'm saying?
All the way over. If
You
you
have to-
can. And
If
that's
you
even
want
hard.
to
Yeah.
try, and trust me, I did. And because I knew where I failed. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a hard thing for any man to admit.
But then you do move, then you can heal, because to admit all that stuff is hard, but it's good for you
Right.
personally.
I mean, I don't know anything about that relationship. I just thought you guys were so cute. But that's,
I was
mean,
like,
I don't know what happened, and I'm not going to
No.
get into that. That doesn't matter. But
none of it.
also, one never knows. Like, life is funny in some ways.
Absolutely.
And crazier things happen. Who knows?
Right.
I mean, you could heal. She could heal. I mean, there might be a future down the road. You never know.
First off, I never close any door. I don't burn any bridge, though, even though they might have burned the bridge. I didn't set fire to the bridge.
Right.
But it's one of those where each girl in my life, the first one that was crazy, told me, don't date a kid, date a woman. Second one, don't date a girl when you bring her from the country into the entertainment world. If they start following just your dreams, they have no dreams, which means they just want to be sugar mama or sugar daddy. They just want to be a part of all of the cool things that I was doing. Don't date that girl. The last relationship, I'm ready for a relationship. And unfortunately, maybe that was her role, was to prepare me in the way that God is, because I'm very into spirituality. I will say that literally God was saying, we need to clear the path for you. And since you're too much of a dumbass, I'm going to clear it for you.
That's happened to me a lot.
Yeah. And you know what? But you have to accept it. And what was the lesson, as opposed to being bitter? Because for the first 2 months, I was bitter. I was like, this is not fair. This is not what happened. I know where I was wrong, but no one's even talked to me. So F everybody. Do you know what I mean? But
Right.
it is what it is, you know?
Right.
I say that sometimes, like, God is like, fine, I'll teach you a harder way.
Yeah.
If you're not going to listen and you keep fighting the lesson, you're like, he'll show you big
Right.
time.
And
Like,
what is it? If you ask God for courage, God will never give you courage. He gives you the opportunity to be courageous. So it's always know that the universe wants you to win. Always wants you to win.
Yes.
But it will only give you the steps for you to actually take. You have to choose to want to.
And you have to listen to that voice. I always say, when you hear that inner voice, that's God speaking to you. And we are very good at shutting that out and like going,
Right.
I hear you, but no, I don't want to listen.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That's the balance between your internal and external desires.
Yeah.
There you go.
it
Externally,
actually
you
is.
want the world to think you're okay. I want all other girls to know I'm single and it feels great. Look at me. But yet your internal desires are like, why did this happen? What did I do? Why am I upset? What do I want? Oh, wait, she's pretty. Let me take her on a vacation. No, Matt, you know where that goes. No, bad Matt. No. Don't take her on a vacation. Horrible.
Italy.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Italy.
No more Italy trips. I always said this. I will get married in the Pantheon in Rome, the oldest church. It's my
Yes.
favorite place. Michelangelo literally walked in there and said, I will build the Vatican based on this awesome, like St. Peter's. Like, that's so cool to know that these humans have walked through here.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to get married. So I feel bad for the woman that has already had her decisions of where she's getting married, but I will overpower her because she's going to love the 1 month honeymoon in Europe
Italy.
to just, and that's it.
I don't know many girls that would fight you on that
Yeah.
I don't think
don't
so
either.
either.
Yeah.
Because that's going to happen. I will wait out for that girl. That's when I know she's the right one.
Oh,
We're getting married in Italy, period.
one. Are you dating at all?
No.
No.
No. Do I want to? Absolutely. I'll start tomorrow. But you find someone that actually
tomorrow.
wants to have a conversation.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Talk about that too.
Like that really, honestly, I'm sorry. No, I have not. We live in Dallas. You guys know what one of my other movies, actually, it's kind of in thought process. You know what dinner smash means?
Dinner smash?
Is it you have dinner and then smash?
Very good.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know.
You
Like
literally hit
Netflix
the
and
nail
chill.
on the head
I'm like,
because I
it
want to
just
keep things
sounded
simple.
pretty- yeah.
So I know, I don't want to say, and I'm not naming names, but there are a lot, you know the industry that I'm in, or where I was, just to be clear for listeners, because they probably don't know me or anything like that. But when you're in the entertainment business for as long as I have, for 20 years, you meet a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And I literally met a group of girls, and it's not like they have a group, but there's a group of girls that I know, individuals, that literally will line up dinner dates with dudes so they never have to pay for food. And they admit it. And they go only to the top restaurants through Dallas.
But then they have to sleep with them?
Sometimes they do. It's not my business.
For food?
I'm
I'm worth more than a burger.
Hold on. First
Yeah.
off, they're not going on burger meals, and all of their meals are about where you're going on your adventure. Have you ever looked on Facebook and been like, how is that girl in Cancun again?
Oh, well,
she
yeah,
has
so
2
yeah.
kids, and
The
there's
sugar
never
baby.
a dude. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it all starts with the dinner smash.
Wow. Did you make that
But
up,
is
or is
that
that
a
a thing?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a thing.
Like,
Okay.
is
It
that
is
an
a
official
Is
thing,
it
or
an
you
app
calling
that you-
it?
Well, I actually own dinnersmash.com, but at the same time, though, that was something that I was always going to put out there. And one of my other friends, she's awesome. You know, we had this idea together when we were out in LA that we wanted to actually kind of put this forward. But it's just one of the movies that we have kind of like a partial script written. It's not the one that I want to put out right away. But it literally, the dinner
About
smash.
the sugar daddy stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's about it's all about
Dinner
relationships.
smash.
Yeah, and trust me, there's not one. It's basically at the end of the day, we all have the movie's more about. It's not just dinner. We all
Yeah.
have choices. You know,
Right.
The dinner could be, in theory, something that you want at the time, or this or that.
Steak.
And let me tell you, that's steak. Steak, I like that. But it is what it is. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is a real thing. I can tell you, I as a joke, right? So my phone broke, and it's embarrassing because I broke my phone. But I want to show you how crazy this is, and maybe you
yeah.
guys are familiar to this. You know how you can go to your phone, you go to the bottom, and I'll tell you how many contacts you have, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm just
Really?
curious. Do you guys even have a guesstimate of how many contacts you have?
I didn't even
No.
know I could do
I
that.
didn't
Right.
know. What,
So
what are we doing?
You go straight to your hit your phone,
Phone.
go to the contacts,
My
Talk
phone.
about
My
broken.
phone is like.
Aw.
Contacts.
And now you hit
Hold on.
like on the side. There's you find like the little
Pound sign?
the pound
My
sign,
phone is like not working.
and then scroll all the way up because sometimes you have numbers in there, and it
Oh.
will tell you how many contacts you have.
Oh.
335.
I have to restart my phone right now.
Why? What
I
happened?
don't know. It was completely frozen.
3,216.
Wow.
There you go.
Is that right? I guess
Maybe.
so.
Wait, why does it only tell
I
me
don't
I have
even
2
talk
contacts?
Like, talk to
That's not right.
Three.
You
Other
have
people.
no more friends, Matthew.
No,
you told
no,
me
I don't
that
know why it's
earlier.
going groups. Well, anyway, the point is that I ended up having 11,000 contacts. So if you look
God.
at this as a joke, this isn't about a man thing or male thing. I'm just telling you how many people I network with, but these are just gens. And you can see how many gens you end up knowing. And it's just gens, and you always put like Jen Blackfin, Jen female football player, Jen. There's there's something like, and it just keeps going and going, and I just have that many contacts. So the point is you hear a lot of stories.
Yeah.
This is where I got all of my information. It's not like you listen more, and I've listened to so many people that you just create all of these stories, and you start to literally get everything what not to do by just listening to these people. This is where I came up with the dinners. This is where you come up with all of these
This
things.
is how we came up with the podcast, because we know so many people and everyone has a unique story. So that's
Give the platform for them to tell their story.
yes, that's the
Yes.
whole point.
Boom.
Yep. And on that note, I want to end this show, and we're gonna come back with Matthew with so many. I mean, I feel like we could stay here all day. There's a lot of stories
You
to
can
tell.
totally have me back.
Can you give us your social media handles for people to get in contact with you?
Absolutely. On Facebook, it's Matthew JC 922. On Instagram, Matthew JC 922. Our company, Red Lux Productions, which will be changing its name, but you can see that on Facebook at Red Lux Productions. And then the movie Operation Torrent is just as simple as Operation Torrent on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Absolutely, guys.